Good morning, Cameron. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Absolutely fantastic. Dude, I got to tell you, I love your energy on this show. Your energy is spot on. It keeps us glued to it. And more importantly, the way that you have paced yourself out allows me as the viewer to physically get involved in the game.
I don't normally watch myself, but I've been watching this game because it's so much fun. So it's aired for a week, and I'm here at my house in my sofa watching a game, which I'm on, which I host, and I'm like all in, and I'm cheering and feeling the pain, and I'm like, oh. And I had somebody right beside me go like, dude, you're in the show. Like, you're right there. Why are you watching it like a fan? And for me, it's one of the things I like about it is it has that aspect. It just draws you in regardless of like whether you're hosting it or not. And I really enjoyed watching it. And sort of like you're alluding to, I really had a great time hosting it.
Yeah, but here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about we creatives, Cameron, is the fact that we step out of our normal selves to go do what it is that we do through creativity. And then when we come back, I have no idea what I did. I just know I showed up.
That's so true. It's like people will be like, I don't get it. Why don't you know whether they make it or crush it? I have no memory. We shoot a lot of these shows and you're in it and you're focused and you're locked in. But then you got to forget that and move on to the next one. And then you go to the next show and the next three contestants and the next three names. And you find out how they know each other and new trivia. And, and you've got 4 rounds every episode. So, 5 with the time round. So by the end of it, I don't remember what happened in a given day, never mind a week and never mind a month, and never mind 100 episodes. So, yeah, you're right. Like you go in, you dive in creatively, and then you kind of move on and you come out and you be like, wait, what just happened?
That's right. I love the way that it starts off with the simple questions first, because I think that's, that makes everybody feel great about winning in that moment. And then it gets a little bit tougher, which that to me is the learning process that your show offers. We learn as they go forward.
Yeah, that's also a nice takeaway from the show is you're right. It kind of ramps up a little bit easier, a little bit slower. You want people to feel good after the first round. It doesn't always happen because as you've seen, the way it does is we give a general category and we give a team of 3 the option who wants to take on the category of sports.
Yep.
And the guy's like, oh, I'm the sports guy here. I got this one. And then they'll come and it'll be like, I don't know, Olympic winter sports categories. And they're like, oh my God, I've never watched the Winter Olympics in my life. And then, then they've got to navigate it. And so, you could get unlucky. But one of the things that I do love about it is even if that guy's there, never watched the Winter Olympics, and that's the category, that's the question. And, it's multiple choice. You use the process of elimination, you use your deductive reasoning, and everybody can stay in it all the time, like the contestants on the bridge, and also just gameplay at home, like as you're watching and playing along with your friends and your family. Even if you don't know a category, you can use that process of elimination because of the multiple choice. You can stay in it. You can guess your way across. We've had many, 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 many people make it across the bridge, and they're like, they literally think that they're not going to get one question right because they don't know a category.
Yeah. I love the fact that you give them 3 little wrong questions, but then inside my heart I'm going, no, I'd like to see it with only 2 wrong questions because 2 is such an odd number.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So in other words, they get 3 strikes and then they're out. 2 strikes and they still get to play. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's so easy to get something wrong when you're under pressure. Like when you're playing at home, you may think like you would do better than you really would. Yeah. So I think that third strike is really important. You get 1 strike. So for people that understand, every individual crossing, one of the team members is allowed 2 wrong answers. And then on that third wrong answer, your crossing is then over. And what you don't realize is that your other 2 team members, once you get those 2 wrong, they have the option to secretly bank however much money you've accumulated. And so even if you get the next question wrong, you actually get to keep that amount of money that they banked. Or if you actually don't get another one wrong and you continue to answer, you make it all the way across the bridge. And let's say you get all the questions right, because they banked your money, you only get the banked amount. But you've had that 2 wrong, so they weren't sure. It just adds a new element, a new dynamic that I think is really interesting for sure.
Well, it's very original, and maybe that's my attachment to it, is that there is nothing on this show that I can compare it to anything else.
Yeah, well, we love that for sure. It's a very unique show. You've got this huge interactive bridge. It's a character. It's got a voice.
Yes.
The surface of the bridge is the LCD screen, is the game board. So you got all these high, wide camera shots, and the contestants crossing the bridge are kind of the game pieces in this game, which is another unique aspect to it as well.
Can you see the bridge actually? Because when you're watching it, we can see what's going on the bridge, the way that the categories come out and the steps and everything. Can you physically see that from where you're standing up there?
Yeah, it's all upside down for me, so I can see it either on the bridge upside down, or I have prompters in the distance.
How did you even prepare for this? I mean, to go from daytime TV where you've got to, be prim, proper, in action, and now you've got this great energy on a game show. What kind of coaching did you go through?
You get to know 3 different names 100 times. So 300 different people, their story, what they're into, how they know each other. You got to know new trivia every show. So you got 5 rounds every show, and that's times 100. That's a ton of trivia. You got to know where the person is in the game, how much money they have in the bank, what round we're in. You got to keep it moving. You got to listen. You got to add in your own little personal anecdotes to it. It's a unique set of skills. So in order to prepare, the best thing the Game Show Network does is they give you a whole week of rehearsals in like a ballroom kind of vibe, or in a boardroom, I guess. Yeah. And we map it out on the floor. We have like different contestants coming in. We play game after game after game. We time it. We see, initially when we started, actually, because this is based on a UK show called Bridge of Live, and then we had rehearsals on the stage itself, and that's when you really lock in, like the camera angles, where you're looking, where they're shooting. There's a big learning curve, but I got to tell you, it's like a speeding train, and you just got to grab on and go.
Wow. I'm so amazed at the energy of this show in the way that I always talk to my wife about it and saying it's almost like they're walking the plank because they don't know what's up next.
Yeah, exactly right. You're taking these steps, step by step, and but you've got that verbal answer, but then you've also got the physical movement. Like you say, you're taking a step onto this wrong answer, and you're like waiting for it to turn red or green. Red if you're wrong, green if you're right. Green, you're moving on. Red, it's 1 strike against you. So it adds a definite element of physicality and energy to it. The fact that you're not only verbally answering, but also physically moving through it.
What is the one thing that you're learning from this? Because I mean, you're in control of the energy of this show.
Yeah, I guess what I'm learning is what I've learned, and I'm learning is that I don't know. I feel like people are amazed at what they can do. Like, I feel like people continue to surprise themselves. Like, I feel like when you tune in and you watch this show at home, you're going to be really surprised what you can do, and as far as like how much trivia you know. And even if you don't know the trivia, you can use your deductive reasoning and process of elimination to be able to navigate your way across. And I feel like people have surprised themselves. I think, in some cases, obviously, they've let themselves down. But if you don't know something, you don't know something. And if you're just guessing and you've only got a 50-50 shot or a 1 in 3 shot or whatever it is. But I feel like, I've learned that, it's very easy to be amazed and at what you're able to do and accomplish and know. And the other thing that I think that I've learned is that, I don't know. Just personally, that I had the energy and the focus to be able to do 6 of these shows every day for a month was a real marathon. And I wasn't sure how I would be with that. And I feel like I did really well. I was ready to shoot another 100.
Do you have a newfound respect for the Bob Barkers of the world? And would you have something to say to Ryan Seacrest, who's now going to be hosting shows?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan doesn't need to hear anything from me, but I would say that I always knew it would be tough as far as, hosting these shows and knowing all the ins and outs of them all. I think a lot of the primetime shows, shoot between 3-4 episodes a day. But, shooting 6 episodes is next level. So I would say, on Game Show Network, a lot of the shows that they shoot is 6 episodes a day. And I have an enormous amount of respect for that.
This is the part that really grabs my attention, in the fact that you're doing 5 shows a day. I've got to take transition walks. Do you at least get to go do something for a moment so you can regain composure?
No,
Oh
no,
my
no.
God.
Like it's 6 episodes a day. You walk out. So, the end of episode 1, I walk backstage. I change a little bit of my wardrobe. I sit down. I get a new script. I have a producer there that helps me stay focused, goes through that script, learns the new contestants' names, learns where they're from, learns how they know each other. Like I learn how they know each other. I'm reading. I'm drinking some tea for my voice. So I keep my voice strong. I relax. I stay as quiet as possible in between shows. And we only get about, I'd say, less than 30 minutes in between each show to be able to change, read scripts, learn contestants, maybe go to the bathroom, and then go back out on set and start it again.
Man, I'm so glad you brought up your voice, because that's one of the things that we have to preserve it and conserve a lot of energy, and you have to learn how to properly breathe. Do you have a breathing coach at all? Because if you're not breathing right, you're gonna rupture that dang vocal cord.
There's people that have been using breathing coaches on Game Show Network and other hosting shows as well. They're really important. And as an actor, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't really breathe that well. I haven't done a ton of theater, and I think in theater, show after show, night after night, especially if you're singing, you really learn your breath and you learn how to use your voice in such a powerful way. I hadn't really done that as much, and so I feel like I don't know how far into this, I can't remember how far into the run it was, but I really got into being able to use my core and my diaphragm to breathe properly.
Yep.
And it became a million times easier when you start breathing properly and using your core to sort of project. And once you do that, in a way you're barely straining your voice at all.
Yeah, because in martial arts, the way that they train us to breathe is that if I'm breathing from my chest, I'm breathing wrong. It's got to come from, like you said, the diaphragm, or in martial arts, we call it the danjian.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah, and again, I should definitely know that. Whether you're on TV or you're on theater, like that's how you should be breathing as an actor, as a performer. And I probably just got lazy with it. I probably didn't have to worry about it because you're mic'd and you can be real quiet and you don't have to worry about that as much. But it's something that was that's something that I definitely learned. You talk about the things that you learned in takeaway. I by the end of it, I was definitely learning how to use my voice in a really efficient and practical and powerful way. I
got to tell you, the one thing that would be scary for me if I was there with Beat the Bridge is I'm the numbskull that would want to go left and I go right. And it's like, because I just do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens. And you do pickups, and we would do pickups, and we would do ways to like audio pickups or camera pickups. But, when you're doing that many episodes a day, you want to try to minimize those as much as possible. The thing that tripped me up the most, for sure, the thing that tripped me up the most was pronunciations.
Yes.
Odd city names.
Yep.
Odd last names. And I had great producers prepping me on that, and I still would get them wrong. Because in the moment, you just get tripped up. You're moving. It's just hard, and so we would do a lot of those audio pickups.
See, and that's every bit the reason why everybody is, dude, hey, yo, what's up? Because I mean, like you're struggling with with 100 episodes with all these team names on it. It's like, oh my God, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's really it was for me something. It also you get a little anxious about that, like. I don't want to be the guy to mispronounce something that everybody knows how to pronounce. I would always like blame Canada. I'd be like, well, in Canada we pronounce it differently. But I mean, truthfully, like it's just so easy because you get a little numb brain wise, and it's just easy to kind of like, mispronounce something or see something backwards, or like I mentioned, my teleprompter was a long ways away, and so it's easy to get it wrong. But they tell me that I had a very, very, very little number of pickups, which surprised me because for me that felt like a lot. Coming from the world of daytime, and you don't get a lot of second chances and stuff. So I was very lucky.
Are there certain words that you try to stay away from? Because I saw an interview with Tom Brokaw. He says I have to stay away from L words. He says I can't pronounce an L word, and that's one. It's like with me, it's like to determine. I mean, to me, it's like I trip over words like that.
Yeah, I can't think of a certain category. I can't think of that. It was just, yeah, it would just sort of come, and it just depended on whether it was somebody's last name or whether it was a city or whether it was like it wasn't anything. I don't think I'm surprised L words. I wonder what he's got against L words.
Well, he says he swallows his L. Like, oh, it's and so it's like, okay. I mean, you can get into a habit very easily if you swallow that L.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But with your acting background, I swear to God, I see you as a director or a producer of one of these shows in the future.
Whether you realize it or not, you're producing and kind of directing yourself all the time. Like once you get experience of that, yeah. But that may be in my future. That may be in my future. I feel like I've got a lot of irons in the fire now, and I'm getting also into the health and fitness and longevity realm. I'm becoming a functional health coach for people because I've been through a real health journey myself and learned a lot. And I'm teaming up with a group of people that have helped me unbelievably. And so I've got these different pods of my life, these different kind of categories, and maybe someday I'll be able to include directing or producing a show like this.
I love it. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, dude. I love your energy and I love your passion for what you're doing.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'd enjoy talking to you anytime. So let's do it again.
Well, you be brilliant, okay?
All right, you too.